Thank you. We'll call a meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Cindy Vaughn.
She's online.
Lisa Werder Brown. Lloyd Cunningham. Dan DeMarco. Patricia DeMarco. Tina Doucet.
Present.
Nick Gressick.
I'm here.
Mark Heckman. Kelly Kelly. Ken Lasota. Ruth Ann Omer. Will Pickering. Mary Ellen Remich. Tim Rogers. Kathy Sapp. Danielle Ventresca. Sean Alfonso Wells. Leah Friedman. Max Junker.
Here.
Thank you.
And Cindy Bond is here.
Yes.
Short quorum.
Yes, we do not have a quorum.
Yes. So without a quorum, there'll be no voting taking place tonight, but we'll still conduct the business. So we'll introduce Marlon Ferguson. Introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marlon Ferguson. I am the new manager of government affairs here at ALCOSAN. In 3 days, 5 days, it'll be my third month. So, I'm just excited to be here and thank you for having me.
Thank you. For everyone, he's replacing Jeannie Clark, who's been all our friend forever. Okay, grow update from Chief Prevost.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to share an update on the GROW program with the committee. I was reminded by our communications folks to give an update, not just on the program, but a reminder of what GROW is. So I'm just going to quickly go through. GROW is a program that provides financial incentives to our municipalities to implement projects that removes water from the collection system, green infrastructure, I&I projects, stream inflow projects, and sewer separation. We provide funding that's based on 2 criteria: overflow reduction and removing water from the system, with an emphasis on impactful projects. We want to be collaborative with our municipalities. We do everything that we can to reach out to them. We encourage feedback so that these projects are as impactful as possible. What I'm going to talk about today, 4 updates: financial update, cycle 11 application submissions, unresolved grant commitments, and updates on cycles 12 through 14. GROW financial update. This is an accounting of all the payments that have been made from the beginning to the end of 2024. About $31.5 million has been dispersed back to the municipalities. What that means is through cycles 9, $90 million has been allocated to the program. $31.5 million has been dispersed. $20 million are back in the program through uncommitted projects that have come in under budget, projects that have been rescinded or declined. And so our outstanding commitments is about $38.5 million. And I want to say thank you to our finance department or division for providing this information. So where are we at? Cycle 10 award results. We had 15 projects, $3 million in awards. One of the projects declined the award, so now we are down to 14 in cycle 10. I think the key that we wanted to point out, and I shared this with the committee several months ago, is that the program has taken a turn to less impactful projects, and we need to make adjustments to figure out how can we get these impactful projects back on the block. And this was a graph that I shared at that committee meeting. Which leads us to cycle 11. Cycle 11, we received letters of interest at the end of March. We reviewed them in April. We invited applicants to provide projects to us. And we received 10 applications, and there was one project that we offered an extended review. Of these 11 projects, the preliminary cost is over $23 million. If you look at a bookend of that, 15% minimum, 85% maximum, our awards could range from $3.5 million to $20 million. Now, I just put an asterisk by these sewer separation projects because two of those projects were at multiple points of connection. And when we analyze these projects, we analyze them per point of connection. So those two projects got split into 9 different projects. And we're looking at all those projects that have been proposed. Right now, after getting the applications in, the overall costs roughly about $21.9 million. And again, min max, little over $3 million and a little over $18.5 million for the maximum, if everybody got maximum. But based on historical information and just where we believe that these projects could come in, we're estimating the range is going to be somewhere between 7 and 12 million in awards this year. Unresolved grant commitments is a topic that was brought up quite a while ago, and it's taken us a little while to work through this. The issue is that we've had several GROW grants that haven't really progressed. And we are now in our 11th cycle, and there are projects that just haven't moved. And sometimes the people who propose the projects have also moved on. So there's no context anymore or any movement on these jobs. Project hasn't gone past the design stage. Funding for the project has not been identified for the municipal share, or the municipality just doesn't identify a project of that nature as a priority yet. So as we're getting closer to that $100 million in commitments, we need to take a look at these projects that are pretty much holding their award. We don't want to just say we're going to take our money back. We do want to give the municipalities opportunities to get their project back on track. But we had to get that process developed. We had to get this started. One of the things that we are doing is we're reaching out to them and encouraging them to provide us with some feedback on this project, which the ones that we're starting with haven't given us much of anything in years. At the same time, we have to set our expectations. It's not, empty promises from anyone. We need concrete information and commitments. So some of the criteria, municipality hasn't communicated any progress to us in a long time. Project is just not progressing towards construction. And the project has been identified by the municipality or third-party funding source that the project is no longer their priority. And the last one, the project funding now is just insufficient because as time goes on, our match stays the same, but the cost of the project goes up dramatically. I think most of us have seen this chart for GROW before. This is color coding, the projects that are completed, either final closed or interim closed. Are they looking at the project to be closed? Are they in construction? Are they in design? And where we're starting with is in cycles 1 and 2, 2016 and 2017, we have 3 projects that just have not progressed. And so we reached out to them, working with the communications department was very instrumental in helping us communicate this very well. Making sure that when we reach out to them, there's a process developed and legal. And giving the municipalities the opportunity to get the project back on track, but at the same time, making sure that we have everything in place if we have to rescind or if the municipality needs to rescind, everything's documented. And that gets us to getting close to the end of the cycles of GROW. Currently, we're in cycle 11, application review. On Friday, letters are going to go out for cycle 12. These cycles progress quickly. And before we know it, it's going to be 1 year from now, and I'm going to be sending out letters for cycle 14, the last cycle of GROW. It's not the end of GROW, it's just the last of this type of program. Right now, we're just about done with the LO, or getting ready for the LOI stage. And one of the issues is in cycle 12, we're competing with the COAs, which are right now, this phase of the consent order agreements, they're nearing their completion. And the focus for the municipality is not necessarily more projects. The focus is we need to be able to get the projects we've done and work out, the regulatory requirements. And, been working with Three Rivers, the municipalities. We're just not getting the initial feedback. It's not saying that when the letters go out, we're not going to get any letters of interest. It's just there's been a noticeable change in how projects are getting identified. So the COAs are finishing up. Monitoring for the existing source control projects has the ability to identify the future projects. And negotiations for the next orders, they're not yet begun, but I don't think there was an expectation for them to begin so quickly. These things take time. And some municipalities are planning additional source control projects. There are conversations, but not to the level they were many years ago. The projects that have been identified, there's some green infrastructure projects in the combined communities that have been identified that requires, some collaboration. Sewer separation opportunities are being identified by the GROW team to then present to municipalities. But right now, sewer separation seems to be the technology that folks are gravitating towards. But any project is going to be open for consideration from now until the final dollar is awarded. What we're looking for are those strong projects that remove overflows. So cycle 12 begins Friday. Cycle 13 will begin next February. Cycle 14, a year from now, on August 3rd. Then that portion of GROW will be done. But as I said before, it doesn't mean grow is over. If there's money still remaining, it's just going to be a different structure of the program. We're still going to be looking for projects that remove overflows. We're going to always stay committed to the agreements that we made. The funding mechanism will probably change a little bit, but probably not that much. It's just going to be a little different. But our commitment to the municipalities will not change. We're still going to provide whenever they need resources. Will be there for them to provide whatever the municipalities need to get these projects moving. And I went really quick, but sorry, but if there's any questions, Lloyd.
No one. Okay, thank you. Well, regionalization update.
Thank you. So for those I haven't met, my name is Julia Spiker. I'm the manager of the regionalization program. And this evening, I wanted to give you an update on some of the really exciting milestones the region has achieved and where we're headed now that we have transfers well underway. Regionalization is a pillar of our clean water plan. It's the one that's focused on investing in the infrastructure that's in the ground that has been serving this region for about a century, while the other pillars focus on some really exciting and big new infrastructure being built in the region. This is the one that's looking at where we've been and strengthening those relationships along with the infrastructure that's in the ground. We've been doing this for a little while. So first presented with the concept in 2008, where ALCOSAN was tasked with making a good faith effort to transfer 200 miles of municipal sewers to the authority. And that was pretty much the guidance we received. Clearly, this is not an exercise in just transferring ownership of infrastructure. What 200 miles would really realize the purpose of the program to create this streamlined system to benefit all of our municipalities and ALCOSAN in our initiatives to achieve water quality standards. To answer those questions of what the program should look like, we convened a group of stakeholders. And tonight we have the original list of the members of the committee on the Cohen team, the Sewer Regionalization Review Panel membership. These trailblazers defined what would make sense for the program, and they landed on anything that was 10 inches in diameter or larger and conveyed flow from more than one municipality. When you apply that criteria to our service area, we found 265 miles. So we met that original 200-mile marker that we needed to for the consent decree. ALCOSAN and our partners immediately begin negotiating the terms of a universal transfer agreement so that everyone is getting the same deal. And just like you would with your house, you have to understand when you're buying a house where are the defects, where are the things we need to address before move-in day. We did that with sewer inspection of over 300 miles of infrastructure. So those two parallel tracks are moving on. We know what we're going to take, we know how we're going to take it, and we know what kind of condition it's in, all while keeping the program fair and equitable across the service area. 15 short years later, since the beginning, we had our first transfer. Then we really started to pick up momentum. In 2024 and now in 2025, we're moving into this new phase of regionalization. Currently on this committee, there are still 4 of the trailblazers that are supporting this program, and I wanted to acknowledge them and their efforts. Ruth Ann, Mary Ellen, Tim Rogers, Dave Montz. Personally, thank you very much. I'm having a blast on this program. This is extremely rewarding. And if you all hadn't done truly the hard work coming up with what it was going to look like and defining the transfer agreement terms, we wouldn't be here today. And we're really starting to see the benefits of the program now that we've reached this critical mass of enough sewers to transfer. Any authority that undertakes regionalization is trying to achieve some bigger goals. It's mainly about people, affordability, and then ultimately water quality. In our region, we want to share our resources that ALCOSAN has with our customer municipalities and strengthen that relationship. We also want to make sure that any future repair costs, along with operation and maintenance costs, are borne by ALCOSAN post-transfer. We take care of the regulatory compliance. We have Michelle Buys and her team that are solely focused on that, and they do an excellent job at it. And then, of course, ALCOSAN, we're open 365, 24/7. We're here to respond to emergencies, and we maintain contracts with some local expert contractors for those emergencies that are outside of our resources. So we're ready to respond to anything that pops up in the system. Why ALCOSAN, right? It is a big undertaking and it does change who we are. And it's because we have our division of regional conveyance that is solely focused on everything that happens outside of the plant. Since we began and since we were created, this is our mission statement: to provide compliant, cost-effective, community-based services to the ALCOSAN service area. And it's all we've ever done. So we built the infrastructure and we continue to maintain it above ground, below ground. We know where the sewers were created. If they're in a street or they're in a stream, we're still out there maintaining that infrastructure today. We are solely focused on achieving the water quality standards. Where we've had overflows, ALCOSAN seals up and makes that system strong. And we know how to get the job done, regardless of what that might look like. So the practices that were working in the 1950s are still working today. Lloyd, this might look very familiar to you in particular. So between 1959 and 2022, this is what the ALCOSAN system looked like. We hugged the rivers. We were focused on large infrastructure, and we mainly had the 90 miles of tunnels and shallow cut interceptors along with some force mains. In 2023, we had our first transfers, mainly focused in Turtle Creek. And then we had some in the upper Allegheny and some along Chartiers. 2024, we started to expand across the service area. And so far in 2025, we're really branching out into the municipalities' backyards and strengthening that relationship we have with them. The lines you're seeing pop up now are what is at DEP for permitting. That's an important step right before transfer. So these municipalities have completed all their requirements and responsibilities. Once DEP reviews those permit applications, list ALCOSAN as the permittee, will become the owner. Currently, we have 57 miles of sewers transferred. That's about just under 2,000 additional manholes that have been moved to the ALCOSAN system. And I think this is big for the municipalities. The 28 regulators and their associated overflows have moved. We put them under the umbrella of the consent decree, and we make sure that they're covered by ALCOSAN's permit, making us responsible for the operation, maintenance, compliance, and ultimately addressing those structures. No pump stations have transferred as yet, although 2 are in good negotiations and discussions to move forward. So we're really excited about that progress. And what we're most proud of, the whole region should be most proud of, honestly, is 47 of the 66 municipalities that own some piece of infrastructure eligible for transfer have fully signed on. There's more that are in the wings. They're interested in the program. They just have a few extra hurdles, or they're still working on their defects. So that's truly, truly tremendous. Transfer is the tip of the iceberg. It's what we can see. The bulk of the program happens below the surface. So immediately at transfer, ALCOSAN crews and staff are out there operating and maintaining the system. That's day one, the permits issued to us. We then are methodically assessing this infrastructure to establish a new baseline of where it's at, so we can make thoughtful and informed capital improvement needs that are cost effective and multifaceted in how they're benefiting the whole region. Go back to the goals of why the program exists. We want to make sure that we're strengthening our relationships. We want to make sure that we're reducing the financial burden on those ratepayers, because it's the same ratepayer that ALCOSAN has that the municipalities have. We want to improve the management of costs, maintenance, and performance of the system, and then ultimately contribute to those clean water plan goals, which of course is improved water quality. I wanted to provide a status update on how we're already working to those goals. So first, with promoting collaboration, nothing in the program happens without multi-municipal support. This is a voluntary program. It's not mandated. So we would have 0 inches of sewer transferred if it wasn't a multi-municipal effort, and we're at 57. We continue to have engagement across our service area. We use our partners at Three Rivers Wet Weather quite a bit for that, so that we're getting multi-municipal efforts together and we can transfer a whole point of connection at the same time. After transfer, we're having our operators meet with the DPW staff, and this is a really important step. We want them to know the individuals, the people that they can reach out to when there's an issue in their system. We also want to transfer that institutional knowledge. These systems are all different, built over the course of about 100 years out of different material using different techniques. And those DPW staff are their information is really invaluable. And we want to be seen as a gain resource for the municipalities. We acknowledge that we're now working right in your backyard. So we want to make sure that if you have questions, we're there to help. We want to strengthen that communication channel. Last year, ALCOSAN, using internal staff, were able to inspect almost 31,000 feet of the trunk sewers and cleaned about 11,000 feet. That was at 0 cost to those municipalities. That's ALCOSAN's responsibility now. In the past, that would have been something they had to budget for and plan for as well. We've engaged in a 6-party multi-municipal coordination effort at the Oakdale pump station that comes along with 9 miles of sewers. There's about $7.5 million in cost savings there. We're going to reduce overflow relief at a pump station. We're increasing the capacity of the sewers to allow for growth in those communities. There's a lot of different wins that are going on with that project. We've begun the permit compliance responsibilities, reporting on that infrastructure. And just last week, we had a great coordination opportunity with Avalon. The sewers transferred from a couple different parties in that point of connection, and we needed to access it. They elected to use the post-closing repair option, which is where we transfer the sewers as is, and we agree to a price up front. ALCOSAN immediately goes in to build a manhole to access that sewer. At a municipal meeting where we were discussing the next steps of the process that's down through their park, we learned the municipality had planned to build a new manhole immediately adjacent to the transferred trunk line. And we said, you know what, we're raising that manhole. You can access it from that location for your sewer, and it saved the municipality from having to build that new manhole structure. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars immediately off their plate. So we start to see the financial reduction benefit of the program for the municipalities. We're investing back in the infrastructure in a couple different ways. Regulators, those points where there are overflows, are being assessed across the service area. And we're doing sewer improvements right now in Ben Avon, in Avalon, and in Homestead. We also initially inspect all the sewers during that first year post-transfer to establish that new baseline. That involves CCTV, sometimes sonar inspection, and then cleaning. We're doing manholes improvements across the transferred trunk lines to gain access to those sewers. Also, we've had the opportunity where a couple of municipal paving projects have popped up, and they've reached out and said, hey, you want to go ahead and look at this manhole? Does it need replaced? Do you need to replace a casting? Why not just open the road once? And we've been able to take advantage of that coordination as well. And then we're addressing those assumed defects where we agreed with the municipality what ALCOSAN would be responsible for post-transfer. So you're seeing us invest directly back into these communities as we move forward in this post-transfer world. Some of the next phases of the program that are on the horizon is a holistic capital improvement planning effort where we'll be able to look at risk, criticality of the sewers, and make those smart, intentional investments based off of the most need. We'll address capacity. I know we have discussions ongoing with Three Rivers Wet Weather about how we can coordinate on flow monitoring efforts that'll benefit the municipalities, as well as help ALCOSAN understand the system that we've taken on better. And then, of course, we're looking at water quality and overflow reduction as we make those investments. We've rolled all this into the ALCOSAN post-transfer care plan, where we transfer a complete point of connection. We then meet with the municipalities to understand the system better and do our baseline inspection. Based off of what we find, we then do any immediate needs that are necessary, plan out 5-year and 10-year projects. We will always be responsible for the operation and maintenance of the system throughout this entire process and for perpetuity. We recognize this is a fundamental change to ALCOSAN. The municipalities which you all have been able to accomplish is truly impressive now that we're seeing the system in a different way. And we're ready for it. It's what we've always done, and it's what we're always going to do. We're going to stay anchored in transfers. That's the backbone of the project. We have many municipalities still at the initial steps of the transfer process. We have some near the finish line. We're going to continue on with those negotiations. Move into a capital improvement planning phase, and then we want to make sure that we're coordinating closely with municipalities on their projects and vice versa, so that we can take advantage of those opportunities for collaboration where they may be. By the end of 2025, we fully expect to have 70 miles of sewers transferred. And with that, I thank you all. Thanks for your time tonight. Thank you for your commitment to the program, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have a question, but I have being on the original committee. It's commendable to ALCOSAN that you made a study work. So many times I've been involved with issues that come up with ideas and they just sit on the shelf. I can't thank you enough for what you have done, being a former municipal manager, knowing what it's municipalities, but your commitment to keep driving it forward is phenomenal. Because too many times it just kind of gets pushed aside. So kudos to everybody that's been involved with that project. It's phenomenal what you've done. Because I would tell you back then, I never thought it would happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Three Rivers, what weather?
Thank you. We've been busy over the past several months. So want to thank ALCOSAN for all your support we have monthly meetings about 3 times a month. And I had the pleasure of having Jeff Vargas at our meeting. He did a presentation on all plan improvements. And everybody just loves Jeff's presentation with his videos and everything. And I heard Phil say it earlier before we started, it brings it home. You actually can feel what is being done. Also, thank Tim for coming to our meetings and really explaining and getting into the nitty gritty of the growth grants and how they're really working and how it has to go on. And one thing I would say the municipalities are starting to understand, and we're telling them this, the combined communities almost have an automatic new continuation of their consent order, because the consent orders say if you don't hit the 85%, if you only hit 10, you have an automatic submit plans to DEP on how to do it again. So they can start seeing that pipeline, and Tim brought that home at the meeting. You can, even though it's not for this one, be thinking of the next ones and thinking about how growth can help. So we appreciate all that. The other thing that we've been doing is reaching out to the municipalities to see what work is being completed for the compliance measures. Each community were giving a exhibit that was attached to their consent order, which outlined the areas that they needed to do work. So we've taken that exhibit, we've expanded some columns to it and asked for information. And we're putting that into a database. And right now, we've got about 62% of the municipalities that have responded. So just out of the combined SOAR communities, we have 7 municipalities that have responded. They're proposing 11 projects with a total expenditure of $14 million. Their estimated reduction of flow is 58 million gallons. Now, I think we all need to keep in mind, estimated. So this is what we talked about earlier about the final flow monitoring to see what really happens. Out of the separate source systems, we have 43 municipalities who have responded. 98 projects are being proposed at about $75 million expenditures, and a little bit over 5 million gallons of reduction. Ionize a lot tougher when it comes to volume. So that is really something that we'll put together, and we've preliminary showed the database to Mike and his team. Got some good feedback from them about some of the estimates on the quantity, removal quantity. So we're working on that. So thanks for everything on that. We've also been proud to be working with Julia on some of her transfer information about different regulators and where's an SS really closed or whatever. So we've been able to reach out to municipalities, get them to get out, get pictures, find out that some that were said to be closed weren't, and it was like, whoops. Then they went back out and closed them. So it really is a really good follow through of all that. Lately our multi-municipal projects have been working in mainly with the Borough of Braddock. We have worked with them on some creative ways to do some separation and using some existing structures. Thanks to ALCOSAN and its team, Mike, Tim, Julia, everybody in their support, where we're able to get in the room and collaborate and say, yes, that will work. Maybe it's unconventional, but we've had success with DEP when we went to them and said, look at this technique that we want to use. It's an old term, thinking outside the box. So, but we're all working together. So when they see ALCOSAN supporting it, and we're on board with our team of engineers, they've bought into the project. So it shows that working together. So lately, the biggest project we're working on is flow monitoring. You know, I don't know how many years ago, and I remember sitting and asking Arletta to do the flow monitoring, and it was a big lift. And ALCOSAN stepped forward with 518 monitors throughout the region to determine. So the order says we got to remonitor, and everybody is the consensus that won't be 518. So we've been working with the municipalities because their order says as of January of 2026, they have to start monitoring. They've been monitoring it now if they completed a project, but between January and June 30th of next year, they have to have a definitive period and have that system on. Then they have to create a final report. So what we're coming up with the idea is, why not use all these monitors, work with ALCOSAN on permanent monitors that are in place, some new monitors that ALCOSAN is putting in because of the new lines, and coming up with this collaborative effort to monitor, where it's just not ALCOSAN paying the bill. We all have, when I say all, it's all the municipalities have some skin in the game so that they do this. So within a week, we will be getting over to Tim and his team the preliminary outline of the map that shows where these monitors are proposed to be. So Mike and everybody can look at it, and they'll be like, oh, maybe we should move this one, or hey, we're going to be putting one in there for regionalization. We can save on that. So so everything is working well. I just can't say enough, from the day of that committees that were having to this day and age, the difference of how municipalities and ALCOSAN works together. It is truly, truly a partnership. So thank you for your continued commitment. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you. Any questions? Okay, being none, move on to the plans for the open house.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you and good evening. It is my pleasure to invite you to our 23rd annual open house. which will be Saturday, September 13th. This is going to be an amazing day, come rain or shine, and another occasion to give you and others an opportunity to see exactly what we do and how we operate 24/7, 365 days a year. This is our block party. We bring the wow factor to you and for you to make sure that everyone has a good time. For more than 2 decades, we've showcased our wastewater treatment plant and welcomed all with open arms. Last year, we hosted over 1,400 visitors in attendance, and this year, with your help and your engagement and attendance from members from your respective municipalities, we hope to surpass that number. So we say, come one and come all. Our open house is a team-led event. Every division participates, union and management employees. We also have external exhibitors and many educational opportunities, along with our Kitty Cove and this year, our Pups for Clean Water tent will also have therapy dogs. So we're very, very excited about that. Our clean water zone, which highlights the 4 pillars of our clean water plan, is always a big hit. And the kids love our educational science van, Frankie Science on the Go. And of course, Frankie will be on site. All look forward to our plant tours and also our food, our free food that we have. But then just wait, it gets better. This past January, our iconic outfall, which went into operation in 1959, discharged its final treated flow on January 16th. And our new outfall went into operation, making this a historic moment. So this year, you will be amongst some of the first to see the new outfall at the north end of our plant on our popular plant tours. And also, for the first time, our lab and our new environmental compliance facility will be open for tours. And all of this makes our 23rd annual open house a fun-filled family event. So please register on our website at alcosan.org and help us to spread the word, to educate and inform members of your municipalities and all stakeholders to attend our 23rd annual open house. Please take the time to scan the QR code. And I also have Lloyd for you, save the date cards to take back for your municipalities. And also for our other advisory committee members who are not present, we can make sure that you have save the date cards so that you can display within your the lobbies of your respective municipal buildings. So with that, and on behalf of our ALCOSAN family, thank you for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday, September 13th.
Any questions?
For me, I can't keep my mouth shut all It is fantastic. And I said to Arlene last year, when I saw those young children there looking at stuff, reminded me of my 2 who went to different type of events that ended up going into the sciences. Because at a young age, they got their taste of something. So if you can get a handful of children to understand to get into the science, it's worth it all. And what you do is amazing. So that is really a good event for people to bring some kids.
Okay, yes. Any committee member reports on activities in their watersheds? Oh, our way on the only big push we have is getting people to apply for the assistance during their bills, and passed out a lot of cards, but we're getting very little return. So Anyone else working their watersheds? Okay, well, any new business? Oh, we had a comment in an email and I didn't bring my phone, so, but the committees don't have much input. So should we figure a way to restructure the committees so that they have a purpose and there's something that they can accomplish each quarter so that there's more than just coming here and listening to the news of the plant expansion, which is all exciting too, you know, but we need to make a better reason for this committee. So if anyone has suggestions, you can email them around or you know, mail them in, whatever works. But this board, their committee isn't active enough, functional enough, and we need to change that in this next year. Okay. Any other comments? Any comments from folks at home?
Lloyd, this is Cindy. I just want to make sure that the people who are not present tonight hear that as well. So maybe an email from you would be helpful in reaching out to them. I know it's vacation season. I've got a lot of staff out on vacation and it's harder for people to make these summer meetings, but I think an email from you to them saying, look, what do you want this committee to look like? You know, how can we function in a way that's more effective and impactful would be really helpful.
Okay, we can make that happen. Okay, anything else? Then we'll stand adjourned.